Welcome back, Quarantine Gamers. On today's guide, we're gonna be doing some black magic stuff with a Pathfinder doing Cyclone cast while channeling Blade Vortex, but it's poison. I know that entire sentence sounds a bit mangled, but there is two reasons for that complex setup. Reason number A is that I am a lazy player, and I don't want to stand still and cast 10 stacks of Blade Vortex, at least not this league. With cast while channeling, I get to play Cyclone and move around, albeit slowly, but as I spin around, I cast my Blade Vortex stacks. Since I keep channeling everywhere I go, that also helps with the uptime of the skill, and I also get to save some points on skill effect duration. And reason letter 2, standing still in today's day and age is a death sentence, especially with delirium and the exploding mess the league is. I do not see myself coming to a halt every couple seconds to recast everything. With the cast while channeling setup, I can feel safer playing the build as I get to be mobile while poisoning everything. Though the true justification for the character actually came from the comments left by some viewers on the Assassin Custom Crit League starter. While I don't particularly like cast while channeling that much, it actually made sense for this build, as you're gonna see on the gameplay. However, I must admit that I did not level the character with the endgame build setup that we are gonna be talking about on the video. I used Hollow Palm technique with Consecrated Path and stacked as much dexterity as humanly possible to go as fast as possible. I swapped to the Blade Vortex setup at level 82. If you have the currency to mess around with, I recommend doing the exact same thing, as the actual build is gonna feel a bit too janky if you level up with it. Otherwise, a Poet's Pen with Volatile Death and Spells Linger with Desecrate is also a nice leveling alternative. Before we go any further though, if you enjoyed today's content, be sure to drop a like and don't forget to sub to the channel on the way out. We are close to 400 peeps around here, which is actually freaking neat. Anyways, let's go back to chugging poison and dealing flasks, or something like that. So let us talk about this character. We're gonna play the Gatorade Queen because we want to be immune to elemental ailments while chugging our flasks. We get flask regen and chance to avoid using charges, which is also huge for sustaining damage. And at the same time, we also get chaos damage increases and poison quality of life with this ascendancy. We're gonna be using Eclipse staff with cast while channeling intrinsically, which means Cyclone is a 7 link, though Cyclone's performance is irrelevant for the build. We'll go through the mods of the weapon later in the video, but I must admit that a similar one will be a bit expensive. You're probably better off crafting it, but that topic will come a bit later. Again, we're doing cast while channeling because we want to be mobile while playing the character. Plus, you know, Cyclone is too good of a vehicle for these kinds of setups, as we are stun immune and it's cheap as hell to use. However, we will also talk about that topic in a bit. Alright, with all of that out of the way, let's check out the skill tree, which looks like this. Now we talk about the gear, and for that our first and most important piece of equipment is the weapon. I am using a shaped Eclipse staff with cast while channeling, chaos damage over time multiplier and spell crit chance. These three are the basic trifecta of mods we want. Spell damage is nice too, but not that necessary. Other things to consider are damage over time multiplier, global crit multi and mana regen. We use the Eclipse staff, or rather a staff with a global crit chance implicit, because these bases help in the DPS department, and since we are taking dodge nodes, we don't really get a use of a staff with block chance, so make sure you get a shaped crit chance staff for this build. Moving to the body armor, we want to cram as much life and resists as we can into this slot. I recommend looking for chest pieces with at least 140 life, and the incursion mod increased maximum life, alongside resists and if possible strength. I don't recommend unique items because we want a lot of survival utility in this slot. Next comes the gloves, and we want either Hunter or Elder influence gloves with chaos damage over time multiplier, life and resists. Again, no unique alternative because we want as much life and resists as we can afford alongside the chaos mod. The helmet needs to be either an Elder or a Hunter base. Optimally, we want physical damage and chaos damage added to spells, life and resists. Mine doesn't have the chaos damage to spells, but it came with conk effect and that area damage is also valid. For enchantments, the best one is Blade Vortex crit multi per blade, though Blade Vortex damage or duration are fine as well. Moving to the legs, our boots are Hunter influenced because we want poisons you inflict deal damage faster. This one is a bit iffy as it isn't precisely super mandatory, but it helps for clearing mobs in maps faster. Besides that mod, life and resists and movement speed. For enchantments, movement speed is the best option. Next comes for amulet, and we want either an Elder or a Hunter influenced amulet with life, resists and chaos damage over time multiplier. This can get a bit pricey, so if you can't get one, go for spell damage and global crit chance or crit multi. We also want an open suffix on the amulet to craft a minimum frenzy charge. For annoyance, Disciple of the Slaughter is the choice because that gives us our second frenzy charge. The non-unique ring is a diamond ring with life, a resist, mana regen and an open suffix for the last frenzy charge. The other ring is an Icefang Orbit. Try to get one with as high rolls as possible. Optimally, get one with Malevolence Curse effect as a corruption for even more poison DPS. Next is the belt and it's a Stygian Vice. Surprise, surprise. Anyways, in its life, resists, strength if you need it, and we craft flask effect. Cause you know, Gatorade chugging. The jewel on the belt is a Hypnotic Eye jewel because we want life, damage over time while holding a two-handed weapon, and either physical damage or chaos damage to spells. If you're lacking resists or attributes, try to get some here as well. For flasks, we're gonna be using a Series Promise, Witchfire Brew and Coralito's Signature. Try to get the highest possible rolls for each flask, as that also greatly boosts the poison DPS. Now we talk about jewels on a tree, starting with the cluster jewels. The large cluster jewel is an 8 passive variant, which is mandatory because anything with more passives pushes you to level up more. Anyways, we want Overwhelming Malice, Wicked Paul and 2 jewel sockets. These ones can cost a pretty penny, FYI. The medium cluster jewels are fine with up to 5 passives. Anything more and we start overspending points. One medium cluster needs low tolerance, septic spells and a jewel socket. These kinds of jewels are a bit pricey, so keep that in mind. The other medium cluster jewel needs Circling Oblivion, Exposure Therapy and a jewel socket. Lastly, the regular jewels all need increased life, mana regeneration rate and any poison enhancing modifiers. I am putting examples on the screen right now. If you're lacking resists or attributes, you can also invest into those on these jewels. And that's pretty much the gear, which means we can talk about the gems and skill setups now. On our weapon, we want Cyclone, Vaal, Blade Vortex, Awakened Void Manipulation, Awakened Unbound Ailments, Awakened Deadly Ailments, and Vile Toxins. Go with awakened versions of the gems, as the regular versions with 21, 20 levels and quality, while cheap aren't that justifiable in today's Path of Exile. At the same time, Vaal Blade Vortex should be level 21. You don't need the Vaal VV in 21-20, as that one isn't cheap and not very worth it in my opinion. For auras, Malevolence, Herald of Purity, Herald of Agony, and we are gonna link them to Unenlighten. Since we cast while channeling, mana cost isn't that much of an issue. However, our small mana pool requires plenty of mana regen to be sustainable, which is why you want mana regen on the jewels and the ring. The rest of the gems are a Withering Step setup with increased duration and a low level arcane surge, also a Flame Golem, Valve Light, Enduring Cry and a Wither multiple spell totem setup with faster casting. And that's it for gem setups. Now we can talk about the character, aka my opinions. And to be honest, I think the gameplay is doing all the talk for me. This character is freaking nuts, everything dies fast. I killed my first Sirius on Awakener level 8 with this character, and it was a flawless, deathless kill. Shaper, Dorito, their Guardians, the Conquerors, Metamorphs, they all die pretty fast. This one is a pretty enjoyable character, the damage is nutty and surprisingly enough there are upgrades to be made. For example, the God Roll staff has cast while channeling, critical hit chance for spells, damage over time multiplier and we can craft chaos damage over time multiplier. Though if you want to go max PP size, physical spell skill gem levels or all spell skill gem levels will give this build unethical levels of poison DPS. The amulet could have spell damage alongside the mods we have, and the non-unique diamond ring could also have it if it's Baron influenced. The belt could either be Hunter or Elder influenced for global fist damage or increased chaos damage, and these mods also help with the poison DPS. There's other stuff, but you can experiment with ideas on your own. This character achieved even more than I was expecting, and it left me grinning from ear to ear with how fun it was to play. Sure, it isn't a super safe character since our only defensive players are screaming for endurance charges or a coin toss for every time we're about to get hit by enemies. But it was fine because everything died pretty fast, so it wasn't that much of an issue. So yeah, definitely play this if you're a lazy Blade Vortex gamer. It is pretty neat. And that's it for today's build. I'm thinking the next one involves Hollow Palm technique, but we're gonna have to wait and see, as I'm not 100% sure just yet. Besides that, we're halfway through Delirium and I think the PoE hype train has definitely slowed down. While I still have PoE content that I want to make and post, I may upload other games pretty soon. I always say this, but I think this time around that may be a reality, we'll see. With that said, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't done it already, be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the channel. Anyways, take care, wash those hands until they're hurt, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace out.